Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Pro Cycling Manager 2019 Stage Racer, episode number 49. We're at San Sebastian. At this point, we're just into the start of August, which also means the transfer market has opened. No deals yet, only a couple days in. The update on the contract situation for myself. Well, despite our major successes in the last race, it had zero impact because it wasn't World Tour level. So, Mitchelton Scott still high yellow, just outside of green, should be enough to get an offer. Should be. Not guaranteed, though. Kind of feel bad, though, because the salary is crazy high. That's just much too much. I mean, that's bigger than almost any Continental team's budget. That's bigger than most Continental Pro teams' entire budget. And the same thing, CCC, right? They sign us for $70,000 roughly, and then what are you left with? No money left for anyone else, and they want to resign me for more. I mean, there'd be no riders left on the team. Mitchelton's got right now. Oh, look at that grade. Durbridge, Hindley, Deion Smith. That's all they've got. So hopefully they're still able to sign some additional riders, as I'm up to that international reputation, still at a 79, but this next level will see my attributes finally increase. We're looking at a +2 race day condition after that little bit of a mistake I made on having the wrong choice on objective. I don't think I must not have gone in and set it, or at least not properly at the start of the year. If I did set it, I quit without it being saved or something, because it was definitely wrong. It was definitely off, and I've got to take the blame for that. And nothing else but my fault on that. But anyway, we're at least looking good for today's race. We're just missing out on this fitness peak affecting pretty much anything else. Now, looking at the profile here for San Sebastian, it's long, but not crazy long. That's good because, I don't have the best stamina. Still only a 69. With the +2, I should be mid-70s, but that's definitely not my strength. But the resistance should be good. My mountains and hill ratings are good. So I'll have a chance, but I think there's still a bit too much at the end. There's going to be a handful of riders left, but let's go ahead and get to the race. Now, as it is a major classic on the calendar, I'll go ahead and stay live for this one as we push through and then see what the future has in store for us post-race. You know what? There's only one climb through the first half of the stage, so I'm on the list of favorites. I'm up there, around 6th. That doesn't mean much, especially based on profile and my inability in the sprint, and I don't think this is going to be a solo victory for myself or anyone for that matter, unless it's one of 6 riders left from a breakaway, which obviously I would not be in. I doubt that the breakaway would win, but that's the only scenario I see a single rider clear of the field. Enric Mas, Egan Bernal, Adam Yates, Alaphilippe, Fuglsang, all here, and I can see why they are stronger favorites than I am. For example, Alaphilippe, 84 hills, 81 acceleration. Yeah, he could win it. Let's go ahead and join up halfway through the stage. I'm feeling a bit like a prophet at the moment, as we are at about the halfway point of the stage. I'm going to speed things back up for now. And here's why I'm feeling a bit like a prophet. I mentioned that I will probably have a +2 race day condition. It was the expected, so, I was going with the odds, but I have exactly that, a +2. I also mentioned that if I had a +2, I was expecting that I'd probably have stamina at about a 74. I was thinking +5 to that and to resistance. And, oh, look, they're both +5s. Mountains and hills also looking pretty good in the low 80s. So far, right on the money. And then I said breakaway group. I mentioned 6 riders. Yeah, there's 7. Not exact, mind you, but just about right on the money. Very close to getting that one as we hit the second climb of the day. 3 big climbs, 2 smaller climbs late on, a couple of uncategorized ones here in between. Not that much climbing today. Definitely not a lot. So it's going to come more down to the wear and tear, the pace, and the length of the stage. And you can see even I'm feeling it a little bit here on this climb as we've been at this stage for a while. There are some riders off the back, but not many yet. Though I expect that number to start growing a bit, probably on that next big climb. The lead is 3 minutes, but as close as I've been on my predictions. Let me get a little more specific on some of the other predictions I was talking about while this was loading up. For example, let's go with that. I said no solo rider would win this unless it was a single rider left from the break, but I didn't think that that was going to be the case. I won't rule that out. I'll give that maybe a 5% chance. I'd say 95% it's going to come from the peloton. And with a 2.5 minute lead, that seems likely. 97 riders now in the peloton. We've got plenty of ability to still chase that gap and cover it off. So here we go, onto this climb. This is where I expect to start to see some splits, and actually at the moment, peloton getting larger, not smaller. The gap's down to 1.5 minutes. Is that the same climb? Looks like it is. It is the same climb. Anyway, here's my prediction on that group finish. I think that there is a 90% better or chance that 90% or better chance that the finishing group will be 20 riders or less. And that left 5% for the breakaway, and that left 5% for larger than 20 riders. I'm thinking it's definitely going to be a small group, and we're down to 69 now with a couple climbs to go, but there's going to be a lot of pace in those last couple climbs, and I think it's going to thin the field quite a bit. So I think even claiming that is going to be pretty bold, even looking at the fact that we're already down to less than 70. I think there is a chance that there will be less than 10 riders at the finish. Pretty small chance, though. I'm thinking, maybe 25% chance that it's below 10. I also think that there is a chance that it'll be less than 5 riders at the finish. But I'm putting that somewhere down around that 5% mark, like the breakaway group. That's now down to 4 riders in 46 seconds, so they are just about caught here with 35K to go, well before the finish line. Let's go ahead and bring it on down here. The chase group, though, looks like they might be catching us, so maybe the pace has come out of our group, and if it has, that really changes things here late on. We could have a big group finish with nearly 100 riders, which would be way more than 20. I don't think that there is a chance of a solo rider taking the win. I don't even think it's I think it's less than 1% chance that a solo rider will be at the end from the peloton. And with the breakaway just about caught, I think we've all but eliminated that possibility. Peter Stetina, the last one to be brought in, but we can really see the pace is finally picking up, though that chase group was allowed to make contact, so maybe it does change things. My support, pretty much non-existent. Guadalupe, instead of working at the front, why don't you go ahead and just protect me, as nobody else is left to do that. Aha! There we go. Peloton, 29 riders. I think we'll have no problem dropping 10 or more on that last little climb, but then it comes down to this. Do we back off and slow down? We do, and it's right back up to 60. But if we're looking at trends, we were at 69 before, after the fact, and then it eventually kind of thinned out. We got down to 60. Here, we were at 29 in the immediate after, but it kind of grew back up to 60, 64 riders. I don't think those 12 are going to catch back up. No, they're losing time. So I think we could still see 20 or less, but not 90% most likely. I think 25 or less now is more likely than 20 or less, as this is a fairly big group. But we're coming up on the end of the stage now. I would love to use my gel before the climb, but that actually does not seem like the ideal way to do this, because there's going to be a group left, and then it's going to come down to a sprint, and I'm going to need my gel for that. So we're going to be fairly tired here. Alright, slow down. Here is the climb. This is the climb right now. I'm going to use Guadalupe first. It's really short. You hit this first little section, and then you get over the top through this little flat area, and then it's going to rise up again. So we're already halfway up the climb. And I've got a little bit of separation from the field right now. But I only have so much energy to use. 14 seconds to go. A 14-second gap, not to go. Silly me. Alright. They've caught back up to me. It's not 64 riders, though. But now it's 7.5K to go. And we have a very small group here. So, Enrique Mas has caught me. And we've got this little downhill section. Gaudu has also caught me. And we're going to do the acrobatic descent. 3 riders at the front, 4 chasing, 4 more behind that. That's what I was expecting. I've got a little gap here. I got a little gap. I picked up 9 seconds on those guys. And we have 3K to go. Let's just go 99 all the way and see if we can get there. 2K to go. 17-second lead. Can I win it? I don't know if that sprint coming up is going to do me in, but it's 900 meters. Red bar's gone, but yellow bar's still there. Sprint to the end. Come on, come on, come on. They're going to catch me. They're going to catch me, but will they get me to the line, or can I get them? Oh! Well, I thought it was already over the line. Ah, Gaudu, Bernal, Yates, 4th place. Moss takes 5th. Pedrero, Madaway. So flipping close. Vanderpool is here. Alaphilippe. How is he not in the favorites list? I come half a wheel length from getting the win. So close. And I'm not a classics rider, but that was just time to perfection and using the form. But the descent combined with the still, few kilometers to go after, that's the hard thing about this one. And that's where you need somebody capable of a sprint, which I'm not. And that was the thing. I had the lead, I had the gap, I tried to be the solo victor, but I didn't end up getting there. Now, I think we had less than 20 at the finish, though. It was more than 10 as the group caught me. We'll see what the times come out. I'm curious about that to see how close I was on my prediction. I nearly pulled off that solo victory, which was a little bit surprising. That was mostly because of the acrobatic position descent that gave me a little gap again. Otherwise, there was 3 of us with 4 just behind that, which meant we were looking right at 7 to the finish. But because I opened up a little bit of a gap, the groups kind of caught each other from behind. But there you go. There is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 4, and then a huge group. So it was actually just 7. I don't know what kind of time gaps they're going to give, but that was clearly 7 at the finish. And there it was, 7 riders. So, turns out I was right in the end. I said below 20. I said there was a decent chance of getting under 10. And it did end up being under 10. But I figured under 5 was very, very unlikely. I nearly pulled off a little solo victory, just a slight breakaway. But it was too hard for one rider to go that far, exactly as I expected it to be. And I wouldn't have beat these guys in a sprint anyway, so even if I was in that group, of 7 to the finish, I wouldn't have won. I wouldn't have beat them in a sprint. No way. Now, I was with Gaudu and Moss. So and there were 4 riders just behind us. So I'm guessing that is these 4 riders. That is that group of 7. Again, if I would have had that separation, I don't think anything plays out differently than it did. I mean, you look, sprint 67, 73, 65. It's not great, but it's a lot better than my 57. 63, 61, 71. How does Madaway not get into the podium at least? He must have been just hanging on at the back with no sprint capable at the end. That's the only way he's that far off the pace. But objective was top 5. We did get 4th, so that's a good evaluation. We pick up 15 points. Worth some points. So there you go. There's something from that. And next up, Vuelta España. Of course, I have no team for support, so I don't know what to expect from that. I do expect that there's a couple weeks to go until that race comes up. I might have a contract offer. Should have a contract offer before the 24th of August. I'll cut back when there is something in that regards. Messages coming and going. Plenty of transfers taking place. Alaphilippe staying put. Ackerman staying put. Simon Yates going to Movistar. Is he joining Adam Yates? Isn't he already there? Mikel Landa is going over to Ineos. And I have an offer from CCC. They want to keep me. I have... Okay, I've got 10 days. I've got 10 days to make a decision. I don't want to stay with CCC. But I don't know how many offers I'm going to actually get, as they are the only team in the green. This has not been my most successful year, with the exception of the Tour of Austria, and so much of it has come down to the team around me, Bernal extending. So, without another offer, it's hard to say no, right? I need something. All right, let's see. Sagan extending with EF Education first. Stana picking up Enric Mas. Woods extending with Education first. Pinot extending Groupama FDJ. Van Aert extends with Jumbo Visma. Campenarts with Lotto Soudal. Still about a week to go until we begin Vuelta. And still just over a week, or about a week, to make a decision on CCC. Hello, Adam Yates. Apparently he wasn't, but he is now going to Movistar. So Movistar picks up both of the Yates brothers. Carapaz going to Direct Energy. Del Mar, EF Education, Vanderpool, Katusha Alpecin, Gaviria, AG2R, Sivakov, Ineos. The big deals are all getting signed right now. I'm up there for one of those big deals. Big contract. Have I missed the window? Come on, come on. Well, the sad thing here, Mitchelton Scott, right? They're losing their talent. Both of the Yates brothers are gone. Roglic to Astana. Thomas gets Movistar. Froome extends. Kwiatkowski extends. Hung extends. Dimension Data losing budget. Running out of time. 5 days. Half holding my breath here. Just because I mean, you would think I would get an offer. High yellow, but that's a lot of money for a team that's not maximum interest. A team that's at about 70% on the interest level. It's a lot of money to offer somebody that you're only on. I would think after losing both of your two primary GC riders, you'd look for a replacement, and I would fit the bill. But you never know. I just don't think I could do much worse than staying with CCC, though. I mean, the support has been atrocious this year. And it's not looking any better for next year. It's already the 18th of August. 3 days to decide. There's been countless times where I haven't even... And no new offers for days to anyone. No big deals done the last few days at all. Still nothing. "20th of August. I've got a day to figure this out. Let's go ahead and see what's out there right now. No changes at all at the moment. And Vermont, Paddy Bevan, no help. And then you're looking at a 73 being the next best. Now, Guadalupe, good climber, terrible resistance. His form, constantly bad. And look at that huge drop-off. I mean, my career mode team, Continental Pro team, is far better than this. So, just how bad is it? That's how bad it is right now. I mean, that's bad. That's really bad. What about Mitchelton Scott, though? It is better. It is better with just 12 riders signed so far. For one thing, they've already brought in Jakobsen, Anthony Turgis, Solo. So they've strengthened the team in a few ways, but they lost Adam Yates. Okay, they had already lost Simon. Simon just now moved over. Jack Haig and Ilnar Zakarin. So Robert Howard. You have just lost a whole slew of climbers, though. So that's pretty rough. And at this point, you got Jakobsen, Trentin, Turgis, Durbridge, Solo. You've got Hindley. That's already better support than you pretty much had from all of CCC. Chavez. You got a few decent climbers. The squad's just 12 riders right now. That's pretty rough. That is pretty rough. No climbing capability in these guys. So that's not looking like a good deal either. I mean, it's looking just as bad to go to Mitchelton Scott as it would be to stay with CCC. And I've only got 1 day left to decide. Let's go 1 day and see if we get an offer, and then I might have a very difficult decision on my hands. If I don't take this, what do I have left? What happens if you don't accept a deal from anyone? I mean, you'd think that interest was high enough. I'd be up to 204 points a season. But there's nobody on the team other than Guadalupe that I want around me, and Guadalupe has 0 resistance, meaning he'll support up a couple climbs and then he's toast. Those guys are worthless as well. You know what? Let's hold out hope. I could not be more unhappy with CCC this year. So, no. No deal. No deal. Mitchelton Scott, not looking like a good deal either at this point. With the riders they just lost, with 4 quality climbers gone. Two days to La Vuelta, and I just passed up my only sure bet. Yeah. Coins to direct energy. We're going to take a moment before La Vuelta starts. We're just a day away now. We're going to take a moment to check the team index, see where everyone's at currently. CCC has not signed anyone. And there's still nothing there as we're ready to start La Vuelta. Let's see who's left. Alright, so Wout van Aert, Alaphilippe, Sagan, Van der Poel, Pollitt, Moss, myself, all still out there. So I'm still only the 7th best rider that's still on the market, and then there's a lot of 78s there. That's a little bit reassuring that I'm among good company. It does make me feel a little bit better. But let's go ahead and see where this team index is leading right now. Quickstep, Jumbo Visma, EF, Ineos, Movistar, Astana, all the way up at Bora, Sunweb, Direct Energy, Soudal. 13 teams solidly in place. Then we've got kind of the fight for the rest of the spots. Katusha, Mitchelton Scott still up there. Look at CCC all the way down to 3 stars right now, and Continental Pro at this point. Now, I would have single-handedly kept them up, but you can see Mitchelton Scott versus CCC at the moment. I hope I'm making the right decision to hold out a little bit longer, but I was not getting any support, and it's clear that CCC was not prepared to make any additional moves. Last time we checked a couple days ago, they still had not signed a single rider and had riders on the way out. And we're going to have to pay me, unfortunately, a whole lot more, and I don't get to control that. I would love to take a smaller salary to boost the team support. Right? If I could take 100,000 less, and that 100,000 be divided among 2, 3, 4 good riders that could go out and support me, I would totally do that. The money has no impact, right? If this game had a feature where the money meant something, then by all means implement it so that you want to get the best contract that you can get. But for me, I don't want the best contract. I'd love to have a terrible 1-year contract where I donate my time to the team, essentially. Whatever it is, we're off to Spain. And we're going to begin La Vuelta with a 17.8 kilometer, looks like, team time trial. Who are we bringing with us? Adrian Banishek. A little bit of support in the climb, so a 62 resistance. Doesn't help too much. Michael Gogol. Puncher. Okay. Ben Hermans. Climber. Little bit of support. Alejandro Osorio. Climber. Yes. Rondags. Okay. Ish. It's balanced. Van Hoek. Van Hoek's not going to be much help, but 67 in the hills. And for Wilst, a puncher. Would have been nice if Guadalupe would have been here instead of Rondags or Van Hoek, but it's okay. Only 2 guys are already exhausted before starting. 1 rider in peak fitness form. It's still not good. It's not a good team. But at least the guys that are there are, a number of them are mediocre, decent climbers, maybe. You could try to argue. But we're not even on the top 10 list of teams for the time trial here, which means I'm going to lose time on day 1. Yay! Hooray! And then, that lack of team support is going to make it harder to keep. Not in a fitness peak, not close to a fitness peak. So, is my first trip to La Vuelta. Can I contest for the under-25s jersey? The win? I don't think so. With this team, not a chance. Not a chance. I know that I could compete for a decent placement. Decent. So I could compete for the under 25 depending on who's here. Oh, we're first up? We're that bad?
Team time trial that begins and ends in Torrevieja. The route is as good as flat, so there won't be great differences at the end of the day, but we'll have our first red jersey.
Look at all those nasty red numbers. Rondags. You're not going to stay long in the front. Let's get everyone to a 99. I don't think a 99 is going to be appropriate. We're going to have to back off a little bit, most likely. But it does look like I do have team leader status. We're going to short these guys down a little bit. Hermans. We're going to use and abuse you. And use and abuse me. Van Hoek. Take a little bit of a turn. Gogol does not look like he's going to be helpful, and a -4. So for Wilst, I do not know enough about you. Banishek, spent a little bit of time. Sorio should be okay. So it looks like Herman's and I are going to have to do the heavy lifting, and we'll see how bad the damage is to him and I. Why didn't Herman's actually spend any time on the front? Herman spent... Wasn't that Herman's right behind me? Herman spent like 2 seconds on the front when he was supposed to be set to 25. I don't think it actually gave me any sort of control at all as we go over this climb, and I peel off the front. Hopefully that just helped us pull back some time. So back to that thought. Do I go for the under 25s? I think that's going to depend on the competition. Who's here? I'm not going to win the race. Not with this team. Not with the lack of fitness peak coming anytime soon. So I'm not going to win this race. Not this year. Could I get a top 5 or a top 10? I think that's a definite possibility. So the under 25s, depends on who's here. It's like Egan Bernal is here. I'd be pretty well screwed. If Herman's peels off, take one last long turn. We are quickest so far, actually. So that's all good. And I'm going to have to keep an eye on this to make sure don't do myself in, but with 4K to go, I think Herman's and I have done a lot of work to help us out. We're down to second. We're not that far off. Alright, you gotta back off. Almost to the end. I need wait for Wilst and Banishek. 0. 0. Oh, and they're not peeling off. Not peeling off. Was I 5th or 6th across the line? Might lose a second or so. The second option, besides going for the under 25s, and again, I think that's going to depend on what the competition is out there, as we're second to EF Education already. But only 13 seconds down. Direct Energy is a full minute behind. Bora Hansgrohe behind us, so we're not the worst, but we're only kind of right in the middle of the mix. Not huge time losses so far. Better teams coming. Anyway, is that the option to go for, or is it the KOM? If the under 25s seems like a stretch, if there's 1 or 2 crazy good under 25s riders, then I think I need to look at losing time early, taking a step back, and then going and fighting for the KOM. I'd love to take a jersey home. Egan Bernal is here. Pogacar is here. I don't know if he's still qualified for the under 25s, as we're 3 years now into this playthrough. None of those other guys on top are going to be a threat. Okay, Halverson, Sivakov, Pogacar is. Bennert, Martinez, Heine, Banishek, Kamna is a threat. Nieuwenhuis. So, Kamna, Pogacar, Bennert, and Bernal, all threats for the under 25, and might be enough to push us back, push us out of it. We did not finish in the top 10, but it wasn't a terrible time. 2-time trialists, at least we were able to split the load. It would have been nice if he had not done a 2-second stint at the start. When I set him to 25 seconds, that would have helped us out a little bit more. I wouldn't have had to peel off early there at the end. I probably would have led us across the line if he had taken the time. And no! 38 seconds, I was 6th across the line. 40 seconds. It's only 2 seconds lost. But 2 seconds is 2 seconds. And I'm behind the rest of my team now. Okay, under 25s. Take a little further look. Lucas Hamilton, another contender. Sosa. Gaudu's here. Hershey's here. Paulus is here. Not that he should necessarily beat me. Conchi. Now, some of that depends on who your team leader is. But there's a lot of competition for the under 25s in terms of there being some quality somewhere in the field. So here's my idea, my concept. I think I could potentially squeeze in one more stage, depending on what that stage is. I haven't looked at the profile. But let's take a look at the profile. I think that's could be a factor here, because I'm going to look for some input. So let's go ahead and open this up fully. And let's see from a base standpoint. We got punchy, flat, mountains. So there's some climbing early on. Hitting a mountain range. 33K time trial. That's going to be good for me, but it's on the flat. I would gain more time if it was involving climbs. There's some cobbles on this stage. That could be costly. Plenty of mountain stages spread out with quite a few sprint stages. 21 stages in all, 8 flat, 5 hills, 8 mountains, so only 5 punchy stages. 1 individual time trial plus the team one that's already behind us. You could get an early advance on KOM points in this stage. However, I would assume that I would still be considered an outsider, some sort of contender. Probably would not be allowed to go into the breakaway. But I might. I'm outside of the top 100, but I'm only 40 seconds down. So it's possible I might be able to get away and get points right off the bat. But I wouldn't necessarily think it likely. We need to lose time. And I could do that right away on this stage. I mean, I could go out and lose all sorts of time on this stage. I could attack with everything I've got at the beginning to try to get those 5 points and maybe the 3 points that come after and have nothing left and get dropped, assuming that they would try to chase me and there would be no breakaway. But I could fight to try to get over the top first. I could go for that and then lose time and be 6, 8, 10 minutes down, 15 minutes down, whatever it is, and just waltz in across the finish line and then set sights on KOM right from the start. I could. There's little points to grab here. There's not much there, so that first stage is kind of coming right up on it. Again, with not a lot of points, and outside of that final climb, I'm sure that's worth, 10. Is that similar here? No, that's only 5, so that's category 1 or else category. Get some points early on this one. A lot of points available on this stage. 177 kilometers. Not much there. Love that one. That would be a great one to be at a breakaway. It's 96K is all. So it's just 3 climbs back to back to back. Time trial. Now, a lot of these stages aren't that brutal. I don't think it would be that hard to stay in there. Like this stage would be a hard one. Okay, teammates take a beating. Teammates take a beating. Maybe the pace isn't that bad, but by here, right, by this climb, I've got no teammates left. By the time I go over the top of this climb. So I'm solo, and then I'm solo through those climbs. Be easy for me to lose time as Ineos and others would still have 2, 3, 4 riders left. Again, this is another one of those kind of opportunities. Lots of points out there from the break. KOM could be a fun one to go for. It'd be a different experience to go for the KOM this year and then go for the under 25s and the race jersey maybe next year when I have a better team around me. But I do have stage 18, that's a big one. I do have some okay-ish climbers around me on the team this time. We didn't bring the worst team ever to this race. That's brutal, right? Because looking at this, the up, down, right? Up, down. Outside of this first climb, your elevation change isn't drastic. That's a lot of climbing. It's up or down. There's nothing flat outside of right here and right here. And that's stage 20. That's that decisive stage right at the end. Cruising in on the final stage. But having looked through the profile, here's my question for you. We're going to look at 3 options. Let me know in the comments below what you think we should go for. A, day 1, aim for that under 25s jersey and the GC. Option 2, immediately, right off the bat, we lose time so that we can compete for the KOM. Aggressively, right away, stage 2, attacking for these. If I'm allowed to go in the break, then I just go in the break. But if I'm not, I want to attack. I want to claim these points. If I'm allowed to go in the break, even if I am, maybe by the end, I attack here and then just lose time. Just to make sure. Or 3, aim for the under 25s and the KOM. Being, give it a few stages, see what I can do, see where I'm at amongst the field, see who emerges in that competition for the under 25s after a few stages. Meanwhile, picking up any and all KOM points that I can grab in the meantime. That way we have 2 options. Kind of play it by ear for the first 6, 7 stages. Then decide which way to go depending on how things go early on. If I'm still in contention, then we focus on the under 25s. If I've slipped back a bit, if I'm down 3rd, 4th, 5th place, 5 minutes back, then we focus on KOM. So there's the 3 options. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And if we get enough feedback on that, then it'll be your decision. But I'm Decathlon Gamer. I will see you next time. Have a good one. Be sure to hit that like button. Bye for now.